Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Corey, better known as the Seaman. Now I want to welcome you to another edition of the Seaman's Cinema Sit Down. As you can see, we're in my car, and yes, it is Wednesday night, but we're not quite to American Horror Story yet. Oh no, it's time for a different raw reaction, man. The Seaman got some sneak preview passes to a movie that drops tomorrow. So he's like, yeah, let's go check it out. Not my preferred theater choice, and it wasn't an IMAX screen, which I wanted for this movie, but you can't turn down a sneak preview, right? So I went and checked it out, and I had kind of mixed feelings going into the movie, right? I'm intrigued by the subject matter. I like space. I like the story that we're going with because I don't know a lot about it. I haven't ever seen it visualized on screen before. I like the cast, right? I'm a big fan of Ryan Gosling and the director Damien Chazelle. They've obviously teamed up before and done some magical stuff. So I was intrigued on that end, but the trailers just never popped. And ultimately, I kind of felt like I was in a murky middle coming out of this movie. This movie has some really, really nice, strong moments, man. And I could totally understand the things that people love and why people would love this movie. But there are long stretches that are long and kind of boring. And this just over 2-hour movie feels like a 3-hour flick sometimes. And it's tough because it's a lot of the stuff on Earth just isn't as compelling as the things they're doing in space or at NASA. And it's all intricate, right? Because this is essentially Neil Armstrong's story. We follow Neil the whole time. And that plays well most of the time. And there is a story to be told there. And it all plays into different things. But I felt a lot of it was kind of surface. We never really dug into what was going on with Neil. A lot of pain and maybe depression, or there are a lot of things going on because of something that happens in his life, and then what continually seems to happen to people in his life, and that makes all of the Earth stuff relevant. But it's just not delivered in a very gripping way, and Neil Armstrong is kind of mechanical, and kind of dull. He's not a very enthusiastic or interesting person on camera. That's kind of here most of the movie with Gosling, and Gosling does a really, really good job. I mean, he nails it. But when it's the content's not gripping you, and the actors aren't popping. I mean, his whole family, even Claire Foy, kind of robotic, a little strange. Both his kids kind of weird. And I was seeing moments like that. I'm like, I feel like we could have shaved some of this and focused more on the actual Apollo 11 mission. I did like seeing some of the past stuff, right? We spent about 8 or 9 years in Armstrong's life. And the opening sequence is amazing. This is one of the first times, and this is, of course, non-spoiler, but it's one of the first times that Neil comes near the atmosphere. And it's wonderful, and what happens, and you get pulled to the edge of your seat. It really, really pops well. And then especially when the score kicks. The score is intermittent throughout. There's a lot of gnat sound in this movie, which works sometimes, and again, when you're kind of hitting slow, boring stretches, the gnat sound doesn't add anything. But anytime the score would pop in there, it would immediately rise, kind of elevate the movie a bit. And some of the silence stuff works, right? Obviously, anything with gnat sound and silence in space, I love. I'm talking about on Earth, a lot of gnat sound. But anytime the score is peaking or popping in there, it's really elevating the movie. But like I said, I mean, overall, the stuff on Earth wasn't as gripping. And when you have characters that are kind of, robotic or monotone, and the story stuff on the ground isn't that gripping or compelling in the way it's being delivered, I didn't fall asleep, but being as tired as I am, I certainly was like, come on, Corey, we got to get to the moon, man. We got to get to the moon. And that's the thing that I absolutely will love and praise about this movie is the space stuff, man. The first time that we're fully with Neil up in space, again, pulled to the edge of your seat. You're feeling claustrophobic because a lot of the camera work, too, is from the astronaut's point of view. It's from inside the space shuttle. You don't get all these classic wide shots, although when we get to the big launch, we do get some, and they are spectacular. When there are those wide shots, they are gorgeous. But a lot of the stuff is real close up. It's in there, so you really kind of feel like you're almost in this sardine can that's being shot into space. And I loved all that stuff. And of course, the landing on the moon is spectacular. We got to that part of the movie, and I was like, oh, here we go. I wish I was in an IMAX theater because apparently there's a lot more to see from what a lot of the advertisements see this in IMAX. I'm gonna go check it out in IMAX. But even not in IMAX. Stunning cinematography up there. I really like the choices that Chazelle did as far as how he focused on the astronauts, focused on, Neil coming down, doing all the things that we're familiar with, and that we know that happened up on the moon, and just the camera shots and the choices. It's the best work of the whole movie from everybody. It is really, really strong, and it's just captivating and mesmerizing. Now, there is some controversy in the movie. If you've heard some people who have seen it, they've said and the whole movie builds, right? Like, it's the space race. Constantly, every time something in the movie seems like we're going to be the first to do it, Russia beats us. And you never see the flag get stuck in the moon. On kind of like a panning shot, it's there. You see it up already. But we never actually see it put down. And that's annoyed some people. Some people seem to be mad about that. It didn't really bother me, especially because, it's like it tells the story, and this is and the story is I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I really do think that we landed on the moon. I think Neil and Buzz walked the moon. I think they did the stuff that they said they did. I don't think this stuff was shot on a backlot in Hollywood. But it's kind of almost fun to just have it be there and not see it planted for the people who do want to buy into that stuff. You can kind of be like, see, it's just there, but we never saw him put it in the ground, like why it would be fluttering. It kind of lets that stuff kind of live because you just see it. You don't actually see how it was put up or if there was a stand so that it would be standing up because there's obviously no air in space. And that didn't bother me, man. It was one of those, as long as you saw it. I didn't need to see it go into the moon. I didn't think it took away from the movie. But overall, there are really nice stretches. The space stuff is really good. Claire Foy does a really good job, even though, like I said, her character's a little kind of off. I did really enjoy what she brings, and she has one really, really fantastic sequence or scene with Gosling. And Gosling does a really great job alongside most of his castmates. But because we're kind of jumping around all the time, we don't get a ton of time with Apollo 11, so we don't get to see a lot of Buzz Aldrin. Every time he pops in, he's kind of being a dick. So that stuff hurts, but anytime it's in space, this movie was really working in space for me. I dug it. Even though some of the shots, I was like, ooh. Like I said, it gives you kind of a claustrophobic, realistic approach to the style of shooting, something that's up in space. So there you go, man. The Seaman's been rambling for a while. That's all the thoughts he's got on First Man. Kind of in the middle. Like I said, there are long stretches in this movie that get kind of boring, but if you can get through those, the stuff in space pays off pretty well. And Gosling is solid throughout. So that's all the Seaman's got to say, man. Now it's your turn. Hit those comments down below. Let me know what you're thinking. Did you like the movie? Did you think the same thing? Was it kind of slow and boring for stretches? Where do you fall? Let me know all those down in the comments below. As always, if you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. And if you're new here, hit that subscribe button and little bell so you get alerts every time I make a new video. For the Seaman Cinema Sit Down, I'm the Seaman. I'm signing off.
Oh, hey, you guys are still here. Well, fortunately, so is the Seaman, and I'm here to remind you that you can keep the fun going with just a couple clicks. So make sure you check out a different video like this one or this one. And if you're new, hit the subscribe button over here. I mean, why not? You might as well. Shoot, man.